Hi everyone, welcome to the MaxWellness podcast, where every week we talk to athletes, influencers, and industry experts who share their journey, tactical tips, and lessons learned to help you maximize your wellness and smash your goals.
Hello everyone.
Hey.
Welcome back to the show. So we released episode 2 of the show, and the number one comments were, who are you?
What do you do? How do you know each other?
How do you know each other?
Are you just randoms who came together?
Exactly.
Yes, is the answer. No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
I found him on the street and I was like, look, come. You're tall.
Well, everyone listening knows that Hannah didn't set this up. Because if you met Hannah before, she could barely work her phone, so she definitely didn't set this up.
So true. The worst with technology, the absolute worst, honestly.
Yeah. So this episode is going to be about like, a little bit of us, who we are, how we met, and then why we created the show and what you can expect from future episodes.
Exactly.
So it's going to be a short one, but hopefully it gives you a bit more idea of who we are and who these people you're listening to. So Hannah, how did we meet?
Can you look a little bit excited about it, please?
No, I got a bit upset because I was thinking of the moment when we first met.
How old are you now?
34.
Oh, so so you would have been
How old are
18.
you again?
I think I was 17.
What?
33.
35?
I'm 33.
Oh yeah, it's fine.
Get a few grey hairs.
You don't know how old you are because you've been the same height since we first met.
And I've literally looked exactly the same.
Yeah, exactly. You ain't grown. So
I think I had a fringe for about a year, and then I was like, yeah, I'm done with this.
You had a fringe.
Did I know you when I had a fringe?
You had a fringe. Oh my God, I remember.
Can we do the thing where we like put a picture up? I'll put a picture of me with a fringe. It was dead. It was so dead. I'm so sorry. Anyway.
I'm so sorry. Apologise to the world. No, but back then it was the fringe though. You know, it was the fringe was the fringe for the females, and it was the curtains for the men.
It's true.
Remember the curtain? Beckham dropped the curtains, and everyone was like, "I'm going to do it."
Nick Carter.
Oh yeah.
When I was younger, Nick Carter, blonde hair, blue eyes.
Listen, every single person from this generation has no idea who you're talking about.
From our generation, well, maybe not. If
Nick Carter. If anyone's listening right now and on TikTok, they're like, Nick Carter, who the hell is that? He's probably now an OnlyFans boy.
All right, OnlyFans.
Probably. You never know. So how did we meet? Go back to that.
How did we meet, yeah?
How did we meet?
So we were 17. I was 17. I think you must have been 18. And I was definitely 17.
Good maths, go on.
Brixton Hill. TTP.
Was that the first time?
Yeah. It was you. It was Colin.
That was it? Just me and Colin?
No, it wasn't. There was someone else.
No, it was just me and Colin.
Not Ben.
Nah.
Ashton.
No, it was just me and Colin.
Was it?
Yeah, 2 of us.
Little dance studio in Brixton. Doing the thing. This was Chris.
So is that when I first saw you?
This was Chris.
What, doing my Titan moves? Yeah. So I was that guy.
Accurate representation.
But how did I get there? I know. So I was at
no
Jump
idea.
Off.
I was there and you were
at Jump Off.
Ah.
I saw which is a kind of hip hop event. Which
yeah,
has
so
a combination
they had dance off. They had like
hip hop fusions. There's like a combination of like
rap battles,
dance battles, booty shaking battles.
I was about to say twerking. It wasn't even twerking.
It was called the booty shaking battles. Basketball battles.
And there was always
DJing.
that random poor man that just got pulled on the stage, arms tied up so he couldn't touch the girls, and the girls would just be.
It was crazy.
Smashing their pelvises on him.
It was. It's now outlawed. That guy's still recovering. So I went there. I remember going there on my own because all my friends were too scared to come.
Why?
Because
who was scared? Name names.
Like none of the dance boys, like my like
other ones,
old school OG white friends who were like, so you want me to go into central London to this hip hop event, you know?
What?
Yeah, at like what till 3 a.m. in the morning, midweek.
This is preposterous.
Remember, it wasn't weekend.
School night.
It was a midweek event.
Wednesday. I can't even remember.
It was a midweek event, and so I went on my own because I saw like the battles on YouTube and stuff. I was like, this is insane that this exists. And I was teaching myself how to dance via watching YouTube, like watching videos, and I was like, built up the courage. It sounds silly, but like it was quite intimidating.
Yeah, it can be if you go by yourself.
And I was like, what? How old was I? 16 maybe?
No, you had to be 18. It was in a club. Because I remember there was a period where I couldn't go. And
oh no, but I remember. I think I snuck in. I definitely wasn't old enough because I remember at that time with the boys, I couldn't ever come out clubbing because it was a dance. I think it was one of those ones where they just wanted to get people in there. I think if you were tall enough, which I was, they'll let you in.
That's where Professor Green came from.
Yeah, so a lot of celebrities. A lot of people came from there.
With the rap battles, they had to win 10 rounds back to back, and he won. So he had to come back each week, and that's where Professor Green came from.
Yeah, so that's where we met. So Paige was there, who's the main guy for TTP. You were part of it as well, but
I literally had just come in a couple of weeks before you.
Crazy. So they were battling. I went and freestyled in one of the circles at the back where like you kind of have the cipher, and I was like
two-stepping like a
I was battling.
bad man.
I was battling people and popping and doing my own version of what I thought popping was and tutting, and people were
Can
like,
you demonstrate now?
nah. And people were like,
bare shoulders.
I ain't gonna lie, I was like, I had invites to come to a million classes, not to sound big-headed, but everyone, like Turbo, and that's where I met Turbo. That's where it's so funny. People listen like, you got a friend called Turbo. To us, it's a normal thing, but
it's a Christian name that his mum gave him. Turbo.
Yeah. Turbo. Yeah, from birth. So I was like, I'll come to Brixton, which is also another whole mish.
From East.
Because it weren't from, Brixton, from East London to Brixton, and also it weren't the rich Brixton, the gentrified Brixton of today. It was the Brixton of like, you watch where you're walking.
Time's past.
Yeah, exactly. you might get robbed Brixton. So yeah, that's how we met in there. And I was like, you look like you was about 8 years old.
Then I felt like you only came to like one class though.
I didn't come to any classes.
Rehearsal. You only came to like one rehearsal.
I didn't come to a rehearsal. I came freestyled and never came back.
But then we ended up, there was a whole period when we were clubbing together. How did that happen?
So what happened is Ashton used to go out clubbing in...
So quickly, cut. Can we actually insert pictures whilst we're doing this in the visuals?
Yeah.
So I can insert that picture of you in Oceana nightclub.
Spencer will do it. It's fine.
What about Bruno?
No, Bruno, he's gone. He didn't work out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hugo?
He's he makes thumbnails now. So he's been devoted. So yeah. So, oh God. So yeah, we went clubbing. That was also I definitely wasn't old enough to go to Kingston to the club.
You 100% were, because if you're older than me,
I remember
you can't
Colin
get
getting
into
me in.
No. If you're older than me, I only went to Kingston Oceana when I was Sutton.
Anyways, so
definitely
about a few
illegal.
months later,
Kingston, I was legal.
A few months later, go out to a club. Your little face is there. Obviously, I could barely see you because you're just like hidden in the crowd because you're so small.
FYI, I literally looked exactly the same then as I do now. Just I've got more grey hairs now.
Yeah. I was gonna say something inappropriate there, but I won't say it now. Okay. So yeah, so that was it. And as always, me and you were always the token white boy and white girl.
The corkies.
Dancing.
It's true.
So literally
doing the absolute most. Again, if you can see my adverts, my outfits from back then.
We're gonna insert some of those.
We'll have to. It's just like
even mine.
Gloves to match my trainers, to match my belt.
No, the worst one was the
braces.
Sweatbands.
Oh, the sweatbands.
So
around my wrist and my forehead.
You had a headband.
I used to get in there. I used to cut my tracksuit bottoms up into shorts and still get into Oceana. Just because I threw a pair of like green fishnets underneath.
So we'll go to Oceana and I didn't even drink, to be honest, and most of the boys didn't drink. So we would just basically, they would hate us.
Definitely drank.
So we would get jugs, you wouldn't, yeah, you and your WKDs probably. So we would just get loads of like jugs of water and just dance all night long. To the point
that
where
first room downstairs, and it would shut about an hour and a half before upstairs would.
Yeah.
So when that shut, which was like the hip hop and it would have garage and everything else, and then we'd all head upstairs.
You had the cheese room.
I never went in the cheese room.
Cheese music's like, how do you even describe cheese music? I suppose it is described.
It's like
by
it would be
cheese.
like 80s.
It's like what you listen to. It's like what plays at some old person's wedding.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were good times. So there was
good
clubbing.
times, and then we.
But we would go everywhere. Did you ever go to CC's in Leicester Square?
100%.
So
I lived in CC's in the back room.
I always used to go there with Paige.
In the back room, the back bit where they had the house. So they had like the main room and then like the bit where you go around the back of the bar, and that's where everyone used to jam.
I can barely remember.
I remember it, yeah. So
CC's was Sutton, there was Kingston, anyway, frequenting everywhere.
It was fun. It was one of those just freeing moments, and we're talking about wellness, and onto that topic. For me, that was my escape from like anxiety. So I suffer from anxiety, panic attacks. And again, even back then, none of you lot knew that, but that environment was my escape. Like you can't feel anxious and have a panic attack when you're dancing.
It's true.
Like it's an escape.
It was an adult youth club as well, so you're around a load of people that you were comfortable with.
Yeah.
You could act a fool. People probably were judging, but because we were amongst ourselves, it didn't actually matter.
Exactly. The dance community is there's obviously some good pros and cons, but they're very accepting of all people from every culture, every walk of life. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, rich or poor. If you love dance, everyone bonds around that. To the point where how many 16, 17 years later, here we are, we're still talking.
Yeah.
That just shows it, right? It started there.
And then, so we had a gap probably, I think it's, obviously Ash and them like I'd always see because I'd go Just Debut with them and stuff like that in Paris.
Yeah.
But wouldn't see you.
And again, one of the reasons I didn't go to Just Debut is I was scared if I would have a panic attack abroad.
Really?
And I never told no one. So Ash was like, why don't you come on a coach? I was like, what if I'm on a coach? And I'd start winding myself up. What if I was on a coach and I had a panic attack?
Is it?
Yeah, that's the only reason I never came to those things is I was too nervous and anxious to be out of my comfort zone on a coach traveling for hours and hours and end. Because what would happen if I had a panic attack and I'm trapped on a coach? Imagine how embarrassing it is. This is what my head's saying.
Yeah.
Like, imagine I have to pull over and I get out and you just run it through your mind, right? That's the only reason all of the international stuff, even battles, the reason I stopped battling
Anxiety.
was my anxiety. And not about dance. I was very confident in my ability to dance.
Yeah.
It's the anxiety of the pressure of everyone, the peering eyes on you and everything else. Like I knew I was like, that's, even when I did B-Boy Championships, the pop-in, I got to the final against Alex Peters. And I only ever did it once. And I got to it.
How did I not know this?
Yeah,
did I know this?
The prelims.
Right.
You know, you have to qualify.
Yeah.
Every country has to qualify.
Yeah.
So it's me, Alex, Dixon, all of them lot. So I got to the final with Alex. And was it the final or semi-final? One of the two. And I remember literally thinking to myself, if I win this battle against Alex, next month, I'm going to be on the stage with Salah,
in Brixton,
all these people
Brixton Academy,
with the biggest dance. And that I just wrote, like, it wasn't even a battle against Alex I was like,
battle against yourself.
Oh my God. And I just had like a mini panic attack.
Can you remember your earliest? See, I was having panic attacks when I was 16, but I didn't know they were panic attacks.
No, my first panic attack, I do remember it. I was in a hospital. I don't even remember why I was there. It's kind of like weird. I don't even know why I was in a hospital. I remember I was in hospital. It was me and my mum. I was maybe like 13, 14. I can't remember why I was there. And I had something happen. I couldn't breathe. Remember, at the time I didn't know what it was. I couldn't breathe, all the panic attack symptoms, and I had a panic attack. And that was the first time I had a panic attack, and I didn't know what it was. No one labeled it. No one in the hospital told me it was a panic attack. My mum was like, you're okay, and then almost like just dismissed it. Yeah. Kind of thing. And then it happened again like months later when no one was around. And I was like, well, this is, I didn't tell anyone because I didn't know what it was. I was like,
did you come round from it? I remember my first one, I passed out.
No.
And I literally just thought I was ill. I remember, it's like my first like childhood boyfriend, then playground relationships. I was at the house, I had a panic attack and literally passed out on the floor.
No, I'd never done that. I hyperventilated and obviously got dizzy, felt like I was going to have a heart attack. And then I knew the only comfort, which isn't really comfort, is I knew after a couple of times of having it that it only lasts like 10, 15 minutes. So one thing about panic attacks is it's your body doing a massive adrenaline dump, which is why your heart goes nuts, but it can't sustain that.
It's fight or flight.
So you have adrenaline. Yeah, exactly. So you have to, it wears off.
Fight, yeah.
It wears off. So now, even when I feel like I'm gonna have a panic attack, that's a random comfort of knowing that if it does happen, it's gonna last like 5-10 minutes.
You can almost, as an
and
adult,
no one's ever died from a panic attack.
Yeah, you can talk yourself down from it. I remember.
Now I don't get that far. Yeah, like
the first time I went to CBT, and obviously they give you actual action points to like put into place, and I was just like, cool.
Did they cover panic attacks?
Well, no, because I went there.
Right,
so I remember this was recently. I was talking about only a couple of years ago. I went to the doctor because I had a sore throat for about 3 weeks coronavirus. It wasn't coronavirus. So I'd had a sore throat and I could not shift it. But then obviously I shout a lot with work. So I was like, don't know if it's that. I went there and she's like, it looks fine. And she's like, are you stressed? And I just burst into tears. I didn't even know it was coming. I was there. I was like, what?
You're waiting for someone
what is going on? She's like, right, I think we know what the issue is. And where I'd obviously been so stressed, anxious, whatever it was, I was just shallow breathing. And I'd messed up my throat from shallow breathing.
That's crazy. That's the thing, the physical elements of it. It's like, mind body is completely connected. Like the fact that your thoughts can manifest themselves physically by making you have high heart rate, shortness of breath is crazy when you think about it, right? That a negative thought or fear manifests itself in literally what will make you physically sick.
What's crazy is people think stress and anxiety has to be this physical thing where obviously we're talking about obvious stuff where it's like panic attacks, but it's not for ages. Again, and we've discussed this in the previous 2 podcasts, I think on both of them, like high functioning. So I was having panic attacks when I was a teenager. I had no idea. I just pushed through, carried on as I did. At the time, I was in a hip hop group. I was a
you just go for
competitive
it. If anything,
cheerleader.
it's a distraction.
Yeah, so I just keep going through. I just literally thought it was a bit of what my mum would call like a funny turn. Didn't think anything of it, just carried on. So teenage years, I remember I got it in my GCSEs, didn't think anything of it. Had a couple when I was older and I kind of clocked what they were then, but I didn't, even though I was having them, I didn't associate them anxiety or stress. I just thought they were like one-off things. Again, carry on, be busy, do what you're doing. It wasn't until I got older that sore throat thing happened. That's when I was like, cool, maybe I should. So I went to CBT and he was like, I can't help you because, so backgrounds, well, I'll go back to it in terms of our backgrounds and what we do for jobs. So because of my job, I've got a really good understanding of the body. I've studied the human mind, blah, blah, blah. So the CBT guy was like, I actually can't help you because everything that you're doing already to help combat. I talked myself down when I was having a panic attack. I knew the physical thing that was happening in my body, so I would just ride through it.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't actually help you. But then we realised...
You're not dealing with the...
So then he realised just from a couple chats, let me finish, that it was stemming from the fact that I wasn't very good when I was at a place of, like an emotional place. I wasn't very good at communicating. It's that stuff like work, that's easy. I'll talk about anything. But yeah, when I was in a place of emotion, my brain wouldn't function. I'd just be there. It's like I was physically incapable of thinking, and that would cause even more stress because you're there you're willing these thoughts to come into your brain, and I just couldn't. So then I had therapy specifically for communication to help me communicate more effectively.
How did you get to that stage though when you like finding the therapist, all that kind of stuff?
It was a doctor. So I self-referred on the NHS. You just have to go on. Then someone called me. They were like, do you want to do group? I was like, no. Reason being, again, because of my job, I didn't want to risk, and because it was obviously in a local area, I didn't want to risk going to a group session and knowing someone there straight away. No, I wouldn't give a shit. But then just where I was at, I was like, I don't want to risk going to a group session and seeing someone.
You go from not talking to anyone to a group. That's like 0 to 100.
Because they were like, we can get you in a week. But I was really lucky. So she called me. Then someone else, another woman called me. They're both lovely. They do the normal questions like, are you suicidal? I was like, no, I'm fine.
You're like, I'm not fine, but
I'm not suicidal. It wasn't that deep for me, thank God. But then another woman called me. I was lucky. Within about 2 or 3 weeks, I was in with the CBT. And then once you're in, it's quick. And then they referred me then
to the... What do you mean by the CBT, by the way?
Cognitive behavioural therapy. So usually when you get people specifically with like anger issues and stuff like that, they will go to a CBT person. They action specific things to help you. So it's not necessarily about talking. I think obviously you do talk. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not 100% because I did one session with him. But I think they do more action points, and I don't know if it's like physical stuff. I'm not 100%. I know it's cognitive behavioural therapy.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of my friends that have had previous anger issues will go to CBT. And yeah, then once you're in the system, it's quick. I got forwarded to this other therapist. I had 6 sessions with him. They were super helpful. From that, I read loads of books. Specific book that I recommend to everyone, Crucial Conversations, which helped me out massively.
You start talking to your friends and family about it though?
Yeah, I openly talked about it. But I always talked about stuff like that anyway. In that terms, I had no...
fear?
No, it's not fear. I had not guilt. What's the word?
You were ashamed?
Like, I wasn't ashamed of it. I wasn't embarrassed. And subsequently from that now, I openly talk about it with my clients. After that, I went to another guy where, not necessarily a therapist, but he did a lot of holistic work, meditation, grounding work with me, stuff like that. I loved that. What we spoke about of Akin, where visualization techniques.
Stop getting the chair. So to all those people listening on headphones, sorry for the RIP headphone moment, because Hannah decides to beat up her chair while talking to you. She's like, yeah. I want to hear it on the podcast now. But go on, sorry.
No, but that was it. And that really helped me. And then subsequently, I just would then speak to everyone. And like we said, once you start speaking to everyone, then everyone's like, oh.
Me too.
Literally.
Which is sad, but also like slightly relieving that you're not the only one.
Yeah.
It's like a weird thing, and don't feel guilty about that. It's like when I found out that like a lot of my close friends, I was like, oh, so I'm not a crazy weirdo that's weak and inferior and etc. But again, it's like most people that I meet and talk about it that are most effective are high performing. Yeah. Who are the top of their fields or their sport, and it's also a driver for them. Like for me, because I felt so insecure about my anxiety, it resulted in me going, well, if I'm inferior here, let me be the best in everything else. Yeah. Does that make sense? So it's like, I have this weakness that I feel like, I'm ashamed of, but I'm also the best salesperson at this company. I'm the best at this dance, or I'm best at this. And I just became obsessed with like proving to myself that you're not worthless.
So let everyone know what it is you do for a job, because again, we've both referenced our jobs already, and no one actually knows what we do.
So so basically I context though, right? So when it got to the point where dance for me was, so I got into dance as an escape from the surroundings around me, upbringing, just a way to escape and something I love. When it became a job, I lost a bit of love for it. So I was like, now this thing that was escape is now how I pay my bills. That wasn't for me. I was like, I'm out.
Yeah, I hear
And
that.
also I always had this longer term view of like, I want to build financial wealth for my family, for the next generation. And I was like, am I really going to do that with dance? Don't get me wrong. Like there are the people at the very top of the game that can make good money. But I was like, one, I want it to be fun. I don't want it to be a job. And two, is this what's going to be the vehicle for allowing me to create financial wealth?
And generational wealth.
And generational wealth. I was like, probably not. So then the other thing, I literally Googled, this is a kind of cool story. I've never told this before. I literally Googled highest paying jobs London. And basically the highest paid jobs in London are sales jobs. So if you aren't aware of this, in most companies, in the vast majority of companies, the sales directors and the top salespeople make more than the CEOs.
Really?
And some of the top executives. So
commission based. So you've got
there's months where
variables.
there's months where even people in my own company, HR leaders, which I'll explain what that is, make more than me.
Yeah.
Because they may do a £200,000 deal and get 10%. And they've made £20,000 this month. I don't get paid £20,000 a month. You see what I mean? So I was like, wow. So you're telling me, and also I had no education. So I dropped out of school, had like, I got no GCSEs, not like a couple of GCSEs, like maybe I got PE and art. Basically. Solid. PE, art, ceramics, because they let me swap science for ceramics anyway, a few others, right? And I did art in college and then dropped out. So I had enough, so, I didn't have anything. So one, sales doesn't require that.
Yep.
They really want hungry, motivated people. So I got a job at like 17K basic, 17K, man. You could barely live on 17K, but uncapped commission. And it was selling to human resources executives.
Right.
So HR people, right? And at the time I was like, what the hell, they hire and fire people. That's all I thought they did, right? So that job became 15 years. And now obviously I run my own company in the HR space, and the focus is on creating content through podcasts, online workshops, summits, events. And the whole goal is focusing around shaping the future of work and how that then benefits society. So that's basically, I spend every single day sitting here interviewing HR executives and CEOs of the biggest brands in the world, talking about culture, leadership, diversity, culture, the list goes on.
Yeah.
Of topic. Anyway, so I didn't plan on doing it, but it was a vehicle, and also again allowed me to generate significant wealth because it was uncapped. So I literally was like, so you can tell me I can make as much as I want.
Bam.
So that's the crazy. Like, I remember
money.
being there. I was like, so literally I can make as much as I want because it's uncapped commission. So the more sales you do, the more money you make. And I was like, got to the point where, I'm a teenager making 6 figures. So I was like, I'm going to stay here.
I like this.
And carry on doing that, right? So that was it. So I did that for 10 years and then they sold the company and I started my own company.
HR leaders.
Yeah.
Bam.
So
love that.
Don't dance anymore.
No, well, yeah.
No, anyone watching, I still smoke you in a battle.
I thought you were going to say I still smoke. I was like,
I still smoke you in a battle.
Yeah, probably.
No, I'm joking. I'm probably terrible at this point.
As I said last week, you tart whilst on roller skates going backwards.
Yeah, do you know what? When it comes to, and that's another thing I want to talk about is, because I've shared this on other podcasts, but I haven't shared it on ours.
Right.
And one of the reasons I got into sports and stuff was obviously to combat my insecurity. But the other thing was because I got bullied. So a lot of my anxiety and stuff comes from being bullied like really badly.
Really?
Yeah, like badly, like literally don't want to live anymore badly.
Really?
Yeah, like
I never
bad.
knew that.
Yeah, like I used to get like really badly bullied. I was like, I had the glasses, the braces, it was really tiny. I was tiny in school. I was small and skinny. I was like the perfect target. Like I'd sat there and painting and drawing. I was that kid.
Oh.
So I got terrorized, like strangled, beaten up, like bad. Like, and I'd get robbed every day. Like every day I'd come to school and they would rob me. Like the same group of people for years, for like 3 or 4 years. Like it was bad. And then acid thrown on me in science class, which burned through my trousers. There was another incident in DT.
What?
Graphic design, where someone strangled me with a metal wire. Crazy. Right. So yeah, when I say crazy, I mean, and I didn't even tell my friends that stuff because I just dealt with it. Right. One time I walked out of the school gates and someone just knocked me out cold and I woke up with nothing. Like, yeah, that's how bad school was to me. So I had a really bad, it was bad. So when we got to
no idea.
Yeah, it was bad. And the only person that ever looked out for me was Adam. If you ever listen to this, Adam Hassan, who's like one of our childhood friends, he would like look after me or protect me. Yeah. So that was basically, so the Chris that everyone sees, they don't know the origin of that. So basically what happened was when I got to year 9, I said to my mum, so year 7, 8, 9, so year 10, so she was about to go in. So after summer holidays, we're going into year 10. And I said to my mum, I was like, I'm not going back. And she was like, what? Like, I was like, I'm not going back. I cannot go through that again. Like, I'm not, it's like, I'd spend the whole summer holidays just dreading
Going back
to school. That's how bad it was, right? So I came up with this plan and it's mad to think about it because it's still outside my house. So I came up with this plan. I sat down with myself, literally. I was like, what plan can I create where I could stop being bullied? Like, what can I do for those people that bullied me to be like, Chris, we'll leave him alone, or like, he's one of us, right? I didn't want to bully people.
No.
Didn't want to become that, because that's what a lot of people do. They get bullied.
Yeah.
They become bullies. Definitely didn't want to do that.
Hurt people.
So what I realized is those people in the school that were most popular did sports.
Right.
So they were like the football players, the basketball players, and the 2 sports in our school, which was football and basketball, that were like the biggest.
Yeah.
So basically I said to my mum, I'm gonna become an amazing basketball player, so then no one will bully me again. Super simple rationale. But for that point, I've never played a sport. I was skinny, weak, like literally never done nothing. So I begged my mum to buy me a basketball net. We couldn't afford it. You know, single parent, 4 kids. We didn't have any money.
Yeah.
So this is how crazy it is, yeah? She managed to get me the hoop, no backboard on net.
Mate, you had to get good. You better be clearing that every time.
I didn't even know if it went in.
By fire or by force.
Sometimes it never went in. Yeah, I got actually ended up getting a net a few weeks later. But so she got it. We put it in the driveway, and I spent the whole of the summer holidays just shooting. Literally, I'm talking the moment I woke up to the moment I went to sleep. Boom, boom, boom. Even Shane, who's my co-founder of the company now, his mum to this day says, I hated you that summer. Because all I heard was buying. Neighbors remember it. I'm talking for a 6-week period every day. Buying. My mum hated it because it was the wall was where the kitchen is on the other side. So she's cooking and she's doom.
Bro, got cracks everywhere.
Anyway, no, it wasn't that bad. So basically, I did it for the whole summer. Became like by the end of the summer, I literally like there's 2 driveways. I could just hit it from anywhere. Literally, I was just like just shooting. But I had no strength, no like physical, but I could just shoot. I didn't even know the rules of basketball. Jokes. Didn't even know the rules, right? So I go back to school. Then this is the crazy part, right? I'll go into the Dragons Den, yeah? The changing rooms for the basketball.
Yeah.
Imagine, I'm walking into the changing room with every bully. Where there's no teacher in there, which is, imagine that, right? So what happens? They grab my bag, they throw it in the shower. What the fuck you doing here? You know, they're like
kids
hitting me.
Assholes.
Yeah, kids are terrible, right? And then it's funny because I saw one of them years later, which we'll talk about, which is a mad story. And so I go into the tryouts, and then I just hit everything, every shot, bang, 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 and all of a sudden they were my best friends. Oh my god, we gotta get Chris on the team. Literally became one of the best basketball players in the school.
I want to cry.
Then I learned how to play table tennis. Then I learned how to skateboard. Then I learned how to dance, etc. So like I remember after that moment, I was like, wow, this is my superpower.
Sports.
No,
or just
anything. I literally realized if you're willing to be shit at something for a period and grind and learn, because I was terrible and I continued to get better. I was like, I could do anything, and because it was so strongly linked to a strong dark emotion, it stuck in my head. So whenever I go to my mum's house, I went past there the other day, that rusty basketball net,
it's still there.
It's still there, man. It's a reminder. I look at it and I'm like, without that thing, I don't know what I would have done or where I would have been.
You need to bring that here
and put it on the wall somewhere. I want to leave it there as long as possible. Like so it's a constant reminder to me that you can do anything, and it can come out of the worst place like ever. Do you know what I mean? So that's anything I'm good at now. Because people are like, oh, Chris, you're good at everything. You're so annoying. That's why, because I bet it came at such a horrible thing. And then all of a sudden, people that met me in college because I went to college for a little bit, and then like you and everyone else saw me as a confident person. But before that, man, I was like a recluse. I didn't talk to no one, wasn't good at anything. Yeah, I just draw. That was my thing. Like I would sit there and just draw. Like that was my other escape. So before sports, it was like painting, drawing, ceramics. Like I'm like a random thing that no one knows about. I'm like really good with clay. Like if you give me a bit of clay, I can make a lot of things.
Bad man clay master.
Bad man with clay. Never thought you'd hear that.
It's true. It's on the CV.
Bad man with clay. Yeah. So so anyway, so that's the origin story.
That's
but it came out of a mental health crisis. I think I was in a bad place, man.
Absolute crisis.
I was just I was months I didn't go to school where I just pretended to be sick all the time. Like literally
understandably.
All the time. Or this about it, I'll go to school and I'd go all the way around the side of the school and climb over the gate. So no one would, because the bullies would hang out the front of the gate.
Yeah.
So I would climb over the spikes every day to get out of school.
You should have done hurdles then, high jump.
I was tiny. I only started growing.
Clear the gate.
No, I climbed up the gate and over it. But anyway, so that's the origin story.
Of
and then the last thing I'll say, and I'll let you talk, is so what, like 10 years later, I'm like high flyer in a company, like doing like making like 10, 15 grand a month, like making bare money, like going banging gym.
Yeah. Got
a beautiful girlfriend, right? And so I'm like a 3-piece suit, like in Canning Town Station, and I come out the station, I'm walking down the road, and I'm just feeling good about life, you know. I put a bit of weight
Smashing
on.
It.
Yeah, I was like feeling good, and I walk past this bench, and then there's just some person laying there, and they're drunk. It was the guy who was the main guy who terrorized me. Drunk, laid out on the bench, like
that's like a film.
Cracked out of his mind or whatever. Like I want to say his name because he's such a dickhead, but I'm not going to say it.
No.
But
please don't.
So I saw it. No, don't say it. So I saw him, and he saw me, and he knew who I was, and I immediately obviously knew who he was. He terrorized me for like my whole fucking childhood, and it was one of those moments I didn't need to say nothing.
Nah.
They're the ones in it where I looked at him. I'm gonna get emotional just thinking about it because at the time I was very emotional. I nearly cried because I was like, "Fuck that guy! Look at me now." Like I know it sounds silly, but I was like,
but you said that all with the new muscles and the 3-piece suit.
I didn't say nothing.
No, that's what I'm saying. You didn't need to.
I didn't need to say nothing. And then there was a girl. There's even a girl that bullied me really badly. A girl terrorized me. This girl in the class, and and I saw her one time in the same kind of couple of years at the train station on the DLR platform. She came up to me. She's like, "Oh, Chris, look at you looking good." Da, da, da. And I was like, "Don't talk to me.
Good.
Don't talk to me." Like, you know, like I was like, you done, like, you know, I was like, at that time I did say something. I was pissed off because I was like, "Don't try and be my friend."
Yeah.
Like you did so much bad things. You know what I mean? Like you're so mean to me. She didn't physically do anything. She just verbally would say something.
My thing is people like that. Like I'm very much a person of forgiveness. However, you need to apologize first so I can forgive you.
No, that's the thing. Like this person didn't even.
Just try and be my friend. You didn't acknowledge any of your bullshit.
Exactly, and they know who they are. Anyway, so it's one of those ones where it's like, and let's be honest, on a funny note, like more, all the people that were popular in my school are now like, they're not doing well in life. And that sounds horrible, but like most of the people that were like the hot shotters, the fly, like the girls that were like the girl, I mean, the fly ones. They're the ones that have got 4 kids. And like not doing great, and all of the people like me and a few other people that got really badly bullied, I've met a few of them in passing over the last couple of years, and they're like one of the guys who got bullied probably worse than me, and it was really bad. And I used to never spoke to him either, but I saw bad things happen to him. He's a brain surgeon. I bumped into him. I was like, "Bro, you're a brain surgeon, bro." And I said to him, "Remember like those days?" And he was like, "Obviously, we kind of connected over it, even though we didn't say nothing to each other back in the day." It's like, "Bro, you're a fucking brain surgeon. Well done, bro." It
builds tenacity, although you'd hope.
And he looked good. He was fit. I was like, "Yes, bro." I was so gassed for him.
We were like bicep curling each other.
I'm not big or anything, but I was skinny. I was proper skinny back then, so I was like frail and that. But I was like, man's a brain surgeon. I was so excited for him. He was like, "Why are you saying?" I was like, "Bro, because you, like, I know. I saw what happened in the class. I seen you run out of school and that like that. But I saw the madness, and I was like, bro, you're a fucking brain surgeon, bro."
That's smashing it. I love
Sick,
that.
innit? That was so gas for him. Like I've never been so happy for someone else in ages.
No, I get it. I absolutely get it.
Anyway, so like a lot of the anxiety, well-being, getting fit, unfortunately, it came out of pain. Like I didn't go to the gym because I was like, I want to get fit and healthy. It was like, I'll show you. Yeah. I'm gonna get bigger and I'm gonna be strong.
Yeah, look at my comeback.
It's quite sad, but unfortunately, that was the reality. I was like, if I get stronger physically, I remember when I started playing basketball and stuff like that, again, I got in at the next step, right? I wasn't over. Now I was like, not only am I going to do this, I'm going to be better than every single one of you. It was kind of unhealthy, to be honest. Like, I'm going to be
I get it.
Every single, same with dance. Like, there's one part of it which is escape, but there's other that I can't not be the best at it. Like, and tutting was like, if anyone, no one probably knows what tutting is listening, but if you Google tutting, finger tutting, whatever, I was like, no one does that.
It's dancing. I think I said it now. It's dancing algebra.
There's not really one angle or way a body part can move that I don't know. Yeah. Because I studied the human body. I literally looked at diagrams to see how every part of the human joint can move. So I didn't lose a potential angle of when I was dancing.
Yeah, that's mad.
That's obsession.
That's yeah.
And I would literally practice that one angle for like a month, like boom.
I think it's obviously great, but do you think there's a point where that's not healthy?
Yeah, because basically you lose the magic of being in the moment. Yeah. So like sometimes if I'm dancing, I'll lose. Everyone knows about dancing in their bedroom where you can get lost. Yeah. And everyone, like, if you're a dancer listening right now, or any sport really, it's like you call it the flow state, where you're just doing, you're just being, you're not thinking about it, you're reacting, you're just doing it. And when you do that as a dancer, it's magical, like to be able to just like dance and.
It's like euphoric.
Yeah, you're just in it. You see sports athletes who are just like unbeatable on that day because they're in a flow state. And sometimes if you become obsessed with perfection, you over-engineer and you lose that magic.
Yeah. No, yeah, totally.
Yeah. So that was a really long story.
I mean...
But that's the story though. That's the truth.
And I've actually learned something about you today. I've known you for...
I don't really share that much because obviously it's a horrible time.
Oh, it's awful.
And it's also one of the things is like, anyone who I've met that has been a lot of people that I've met who are high performers have something broken. They're broken people in some ways.
Yeah,
it kind of causes you to
It's a different driving force, isn't it?
Yeah, man. Out of pain, I've interviewed billionaires on our podcast who sometimes off camera, because they don't want to talk about some horrific things that have happened to them. But guess what happens, right? When they're faced with adversity, they're like, that's a bad day. Yeah. How about being strangled? How about being beaten up and knocked out on the cold or waking up on your own with no one around you, with all your belongings gone? How about seeing, domestic abuse in your house? How about not having any money to buy food and your mum being like, I don't know what we're going to eat today? Do you know what I mean? So it's like one of those ones where I used to be ashamed of that stuff. And I'm like, that's the biggest superpower. It's
the journey.
That's the superpower, man. Like, it's really hard for me to have a bad day. Yeah. I'm super grateful. And I know I've got a lot of stuff to deal with. And I'm like, but it's really bad. It's like when I'd see people in the company that I worked in saying, oh, this person said no to me on the phone in sales, right? I'd be like, bro, get a grip.
It's really
minor. It's really not a thing, bro. The person said they don't want to buy your product. Get over it. Whereas if they've never experienced adversity, that's a big deal. Yeah. So like for anyone, like don't say like, that's why I want people to fail forward, right? Everyone's probably heard the term fail forward. Failure should be a positive word in our vocabulary, but unfortunately it's not.
It's how you learn.
Failure's amazing.
I wish I was good at failing. I'm really not good at
I love failure.
I want to be at that point.
Listen, it doesn't feel good, and I don't feel good about it when you fail, but it's amazing.
I like it in theory, but no, I'm not very good at it. No, but it's that whole perfectionist thing that we were talking about. Chester, I struggle. Yeah, no. I absolutely.
It's because the society we're basically taught to avoid failure, and most people's failure is not even to do with them. It's about their worry about what other people are going to think. 90% is not about Chris. It's about, what if I fail? What's my wife going to think? What's my friends going to think? What are these people? What are my employees going to think? I'm never worried about my own personal failure. It's always about like, what's that person going to think of me? Most people, that's why people are so focused on portraying, for example, an Instagram or social media feed that represents a false sense of reality. Imagine if they're real on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok showed their failures.
Yeah, true.
And their shit day.
So that's why you probably know no, you don't really go on Instagram that much.
No, I stay away from Instagram.
Regularly go on my stories and just chat rubbish. I do my road rage rants. I chat the most amount of I'm not gonna lie, my feed, it's all the nice pictures. My stories.
But that's the misconception.
I'll go on, no makeup, sweaty.
All those people you see that are successful, it's such a. I worry about the new generation because they don't see all of the failures to get there. Even with me, that people will be like, oh, like Chris is super successful, whatever. If I didn't share like what I'm talking about now, it would be so fake to people because it's not real. It's like, and everyone that I speak to, when I first started interviewing successful people on the podcast, I was really insecure because I was like, who am I to talk to this guy?
Yeah.
You know, today,
it's imposter syndrome.
Today I spoke to a judge.
Yeah.
Fuck, a judge. Like I was like, what do I ask a judge, right? And they all have this moment where life it just hits them. You know what I mean? This is one of the most heartbreaking moments to me, right? I was in this workshop where it was like a retreat for like business people, entrepreneurs, and you have to share. Imagine you're a complete stranger, but they ask you to share your 3 worst times in your life with a complete stranger. And it's rare that people ever even talk to some of their closest friends about their 3 worst times in their life. Yeah. So I'm sitting there with these 2 people. Actually, no, it wasn't even. Yeah, it was 3 people, so me and 2 others. I was like, oh my god, what do I say? You know what I mean? It's weird. You know what I mean? I was having to relive those moments in my head, which was traumatic alone because I was trying to block them out, like those moments where those things happened. And this guy, one of the guys, was a billionaire. Yeah. Owns like all of the, not all of it, but tons of like the beachfront property in Miami, hotels, super successful real estate. Yeah. So I was like, wow, like his crucible story, and this is kind of one of the things that drove him and thing, is that he's a billionaire, but then his wife got cancer, and despite all the money in the world, he can do nothing. Helpless. Imagine you have
everything at it, but
all the money in the world. She had to go through multiple surgeries and whatever, and he was like, I've never felt so helpless in my life. I thought that money can solve everything, and that, you know, obviously it was one of his driving factors. He came from a poor upbringing, but he just kind of, but it's one of those moments where I was like, wow, like imagine just having everything, every resource available to you.
And literally nothing at the same time, because nothing. If the stuff that's important to you, you can't. Yeah, it's awful. It's
mad, isn't it? But it's out of that. She survived, thankfully. She was there in the room. She was on the course with us. Yeah. She obviously had multiple biopsies, lost both breasts, whatever. I've never seen someone more positive and grateful to be alive. Super nice, down to earth.
It's the next.
Like it's the next level stuff. You're like, and then you can see the energy and passion they both had to live life, because they realized that it ain't about just, yes, it's great to have loads of money, because money won't make you happy, but money gives you options. I want to become rich, not because for the money, but for the freedom it gives me to spend time with Robin, my daughter, with Tasha, with my friends, to make sure my mum doesn't have to worry about money anymore, because she's been in debt for her whole life. Do you know what I mean? That's the dream. That's the dream, because I quit my job and started this company because I was so stressed out about being in an environment where I was scared to talk about anxiety. And
do you feel like you're less stressed now because you've got a bit more control over your...
yeah, but like you also have to understand that, and I shared this with the team before, like one of my mental health struggles or things is like, people like the idea of being a CEO and owning a company, but then when you're responsible for the livelihood of your employees, that's stressful.
When you're having to FaceTime your daughter to night.
Yeah, or not even that, just like, what if I can't make payroll this month? How's Shane, Esha, James, Ivan, Adam,
how they
going to pay their bills? How are they going to feed their kids? And that's hard to, like, no one tells you that. Like no one tells you that going in.
The thing is, you start the company for yourself, and then naturally it expands, and you have to employ people.
Yeah, of course.
And you're like, I did not foresee this happening.
yeah, exactly. So that's always a constant. That's what it is now. Like you just live with it, innit?
Yeah. I mean, I don't employ people like that. I'm responsible for people getting paid, but I don't employ people like that, so no.
Yeah,
I want to say, yeah, I understand.
That's probably one of the things that I just didn't know going in. I read so many books, listened to so many podcasts. No one spoke about by the way, one day you might not be able to pay your employees, and what are they going to do? How are they going to feed their kids and pay their bills? And I was like, and vice versa. And again, guess what's funny? I'm not worried about Chris. Yes, I worry about me, Tasha, and Robin, but that's the last thought I have. My thought first is like, how am I going to take care of my employees, and then on from that, how I'm going to take care of my customers.
Mm-hmm.
And because if I take care of my employees, they will take care of my customers, and then I'll be fine.
It's a positive hamster wheel.
Yeah, if you have happy employees, you have happy customers. Yeah. If you have happy customers, you have a great business.
100%.
And then therefore I'm fine. So if I focus on Chris and the other way around, then it'll probably fall apart. You won't have a company. If you get into,
well, you're not the company, are you?
No, but I'm saying some people build companies because it's around their ego, right? So like it's the people that have the biggest companies in the world that make the most money have a offering that adds value to a big audience of people. If you create something that adds value to millions of people, you therefore make money. But it's not about you, it's about adding value.
Yeah.
Sometimes people get caught up in their own idea and they're so excited about it, but it's like, it doesn't matter unless it's adding value to someone else. You get in your brain, it could be the best idea in the world, but it don't matter. I mean,
if other people aren't buying into it.
No.
No,
it doesn't mean nothing.
And that's why HR leaders is so popular.
I wouldn't say that. It's getting there.
You're interviewing some great people.
I don't want to make this all about me, by the way. Just a whole bloody show. It's meant to be half an hour. Like
Chris loves to make it all about him.
Yeah.
How long have we actually been going for?
45 minutes. So like, we'll give the last 15 minutes we'll dedicate to Hannah. No, we spoke about you got me on this topic because it's talking about your personal.
My thing is, I'm literally the worst. I love to facilitate to other people. I'm literally the worst for it. I'll just keep asking the right questions.
I didn't know about your battle with anxiety and stuff like that. Like that's the thing. I would never again. I would if someone went to me, oh Hannah, stuff from MaxWellness. I'd be like, no, Hannah, really?
What?
And I'm sure people listening that know you are like, what?
Funny, already off the first two, everyone's like, really, this happened? I'm like, I find it weird because I talk so openly about it that when people were surprised that I had it, I'm like, but I talk about it all the time. I literally talk about it all the time. I talk about the fact that I've gone to therapy. Like we're there, everyone.
How does this impact like your relationships and your partners? Do you share this with them off the bat? Do you not? Has it manifested? Has it made it worse sometimes? Relationships? No,
I'll talk about it. Since I've had the therapy, I'll talk about it because my thing is, my ethos is, so for my background, I don't like to call myself a personal trainer. I like to call myself a health and wellness coach. Reason being that there's a lot of personal trainers around now. Not to screw anyone over, but a lot of them are just rep counters. They stand there, do this, do that, 5, 6.
They did their 2-week course.
They did their 2-week course. Understand we'll talk about it as personal training so everyone knows what it is. Personal training, it's like when you learn to drive. You learn to drive, you've got the basics, you don't learn what you're doing.
The learning should just start there. That's the beginning of your learning.
You don't learn what you do until you get out on the road. Personal training is the same thing. You start to learn once you're in front of clients and you're picking up knowledge. Now, the issue that I'm finding a lot with personal trainers these days, they're going out. They'll either go freelance or they'll go into, again, not to issue them, your cheaper gyms where it's very competitive. I'm lucky I was already working in the gym. I went straight into, I'm in part of a health club. And it's very much set up around constant learning. Everyone shares. I'll go on a course. I'll share with all the other PTs that I work with what I've learned. So we're all getting better. However, I'm still the one that specializes in it. Mm-hmm. But everyone's learning. So then there's that constant state of learning. So how I explained it to someone recently who's doing their personal training course, I said, look, get into a health club. Don't go into one of these cheap gyms. Don't go freelance. Because otherwise it's like passing your driving test and then just driving around a racetrack and expecting that you're going to know what you're talking about. No, you know how to do that. And this is what I mean by they count reps. They know how to count reps, but you don't know how to correct someone. You don't know. So I'm lucky I made sure I worked with sports massage therapists, physios. I am also a sports massage therapist. I studied that in college. So which meant I could specialize in sports injuries and stuff like that. So it means when I'm training my clients, I can correct them really easily. I can see their imbalances. I can see their weaknesses. I'm like, fantastic. I can come up with a hypothesis. I would then send it to someone. Now I guess my backstory going into, I've always done sports. I always knew I could not do an office job. I couldn't sit down. I can't sit down. I think if I was
because your legs don't touch the floor.
So I'm always doing this. I swear to God, if I was born now, I would be diagnosed with ADHD. I'm almost certain, especially now that it's coming out.
I think we both would have, to be honest.
Yeah, the diagnosis for women is very different from men in terms of what they look for. But because naturally everything revolves around men. They only ever
because
looked
naturally
at
everything rolls around men.
biggest eye roll of my life. They only ever looked at the diagnosis for men and what the things that they pick up to diagnose ADHD. They never
I
did
wonder
it.
if ADHD is more common in men because of the high testosterone.
No, it's not more common in men. It's just that it's diagnosed more in men.
Is that what it is?
Women just go very undiagnosed because the symptoms are very different.
Oh, okay.
They're extremely different. So women just go undiagnosed. It's got nothing to do with gender.
To be honest, I've never ever spoke to a female that says I've got ADHD.
I'm almost certain I would have had it. I can't stop moving. I'm always tapping. I always have to be on the go. So I guess my backstory getting into, let me scroll back even more. I've always played sports. Like when I was younger, I played rugby. I competed in rugby. I competed in cricket.
You were in rugby, just running through people's legs.
I was the wing, yeah. Although when we were competing,
you were the one that just ran fast.
So no,
give it to Hannah, let her run.
Joke story. I only joined the rugby team when I was in primary school. So Paul Saki was actually our coach.
Who's that, by the way? If everyone listen, who's that?
He's just a professional rugby player, like high performing rugby player.
Cool. I didn't know who that was.
I only joined.
I said if everyone listen, that was for me. So just put that out there.
I only joined because the boy that I fancied was on the rugby team.
Wait, so you played with the boys, what, male and female on the same teams?
I was the only female.
I didn't know that was a thing.
I was the only female. But when we were obviously in school, it ended up when you compete, it's tag rugby.
Are you allowed to get hit?
No. Like, I mean, when we were, I think.
I'm saying people were just taking you out of the game.
Nah, people won't take us out. We played tag rugby, so you have a belt and you'd have the tags down the side. So I was the wing, so every time they would just dash it to me.
What's tag mean? If they grab a tag, you mean?
So there's two tags, they're on Velcro. So if they tag, then you've got to pass the ball to the opposite team.
I've never heard of that.
And they get the ball. It's fast.
Spencer, have you heard of that before?
He's like, who?
He's
I
like,
love the fact you actually answered as well.
No, he's like, in my school, we played the real thing. Okay.
We played croquet.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry, we are mugging you off. I'm so sorry.
He's gonna make our edit look terrible. He's gonna make your skin like proper orange. He's gonna like it's gonna be bad.
I'm gonna be see through.
It's gonna be.
So yeah, I competed in rugby. We came first in Croydon Borough. Competed in cricket. I don't think we came first, but we came pretty high.
Yeah, Croydon's not known for its cricket, is it?
We even known for rugby. To be fair, John Fisher School, 100%.
Yeah,
it was a terrible joke.
I didn't even get it. Next.
It's terrible. On to the next one. Cricket, obviously I was dancing. I've been dancing since I was 4. What else? I did everything. I just always knew I had to do a
And I don't
job.
think it's any coincidence that you end up becoming, I was about to say personal trainer there, but you don't call it personal
health and wellness coach.
A health and wellness coach.
Which I'll go into why I think I would class myself more than that than just what I call.
I think you've already done that. I think you've already done that, to be honest.
Not to shit on personal trainers, but just a personal trainer.
I ain't gonna lie though, like most people's experience that I've spoke to and me personally with personal trainers is not great. Like the worst thing about, we've had this
90% of them are probably absolute shite.
No, the worst thing for me is when you see a personal trainer who's unfit. How can you be telling me about my fitness?
The thing is, they have
and be unfit.
They have incredible knowledge, but no one's going to take them seriously.
Listen,
because people look for inspiration.
Listen, there's a thing called the knowing doing gap. Everyone knows how to be fit and healthy. Everyone knows how to lose weight. It doesn't stop them from putting food in their mouth that they shouldn't eat.
This is it. So they need the
That's the difference. The knowing doing gap is probably one of the biggest separations between successful people and like people that are mediocre and then super high performing. They basically know and immediately do and execute.
Yep. So this is me. When I was younger, I was really good at the second I wanted to do something. Second I turned 17, passed my driver's test. Second, like anything that I wanted to do, I would do it straight away. And then as I got older, imposter syndrome started to... So I was...
Insecurities.
It's not... I don't even know if it is insecurities, but it's like my issue was anything that I wanted to do...
Where did that stem from though?
Well, anything I wanted to do growing up, I was good at. I did it straight away. Rugby, got into the A team. Cricket, got into the competition team. Cheerleading, went to America, we came first. Like, I was in Berggang, which is one of the best companies, I would say, in the UK.
Dance is not a gang.
Berggang, yeah, we're not like...
Not that type of gang.
Oh, sorry.
Imagine for people that don't know the dance community, you're like, yeah, I was in the bird gang. Like, what are you talking about?
She had a strap? No, I didn't have a strap.
Yeah, no, she had a strap.
So I've always naturally done well. And always in the back of my head, I was like, I don't know why. I was lucky. I never had any people attempted to bully me in school. I didn't let them.
I love the fact you said attempted. That was great.
I say attempted because I remember. Do you remember that song, B-I-N-G-O and Bingo? Was his name about the dog? They would sing that to me, but they would sing it as Bimbo. Because one girl in the year above me fancied the boy that I was going out with.
I love the creativity though. That was great.
Oh, they were assholes. Anyway, but there's one little girl that was like basically sending off her 2 like jabronis to come and try it. I was like, no. I was like, go away. And I remember one of them came and apologized in the end because she realized it weren't working.
So where's the insecurity come from then?
From the fact that I've always, again, it's going to sound arrogant, I was always fantastic at everything.
Yeah, but what was the moment? And it must have been some like thing you tried to do and you failed and you were like, oh.
No. So I was constantly, it almost got to the point where I was like, why haven't I failed yet? And it got to the point where we were talking about Chester, where I then became such a perfectionist that I would, when I was younger, I would launch myself into anything and I would literally do it.
We
and as I got older, I was like,
I think that's normal though. As adults,
but then as I got older,
that.
I then stopped myself because I didn't want to fail. So we were talking about the failure thing. I didn't want to fail. So then I would just stop myself from doing it to keep that winning streak.
I see what you're saying. You don't know, but again, I feel like, I think part of that is becoming an adult, because the older we get, the less risk adverse. It's like I started skateboarding again, right? Went back to the skate park the other day. I looked at some of the things going, oh my God, I used to do that as a kid. What a psycho. Like, you know, when you're older, you look at it and you're like, I jumped down the...
How did I not die? I do that all the time.
You're like, and then you see like, you know, Robin, who's nearly 3 years old, just like bang. Oh, like, and I saw like little kids, like little scooter kids backflipping out the bowls.
Yeah,
as you get older, you become less and less risk adverse. And it's almost, and it's not just us, it's society.
Yeah.
Society's like, get a safe job, settle down.
Oh, I was constantly fed that.
Get your ISA.
I was honestly,
get all those things, and it drags you and it conditions you. School even.
Dancing could have never been a career
School beats out
choice
creativity of you. You know what I mean? Like,
because you have to wear uniform, you have to look the same.
I was told I had learning difficulties in school. I didn't know how to read until I was like 13. Like ridiculous, like really late. I'm talking like they used to keep me after school late, and I used to sit there and they would like make me read, and I hated it. All I wanted to do is paint and draw and just be creative. Like, if you ask me to draw you a portrait of Hannah, perfect.
There's that Einstein quote: if you judge a fish on its ability to climb a tree, it's going to spend the rest of its life feeling inadequate. I think that's it.
We'll Google that. We'll put it up here because
it's something like that. It's definitely along that line.
I get the point, but then that's the thing. Like, not everyone is designed to fit in that box.
There's a really good TED talk on this called "The Paradigms of Education."
Ken Robinson.
Yes. I think we've spoken about this already.
Yeah.
I think we might have spoken about it Ken Robinson before we went online.
There's I'll put it in the comment and description.
There's the one where there's someone illustrates it. It's an incredible
It's about
TED
education,
talk.
But that's the thing. It's like
and how it's still based on a Victorian system.
It's crazy.
Of creating workers. We definitely did speak about
creating
this already.
workers for the Industrial Revolution, which no longer exists.
No.
And the 9 to 5, which also, given COVID and the fact that we're now moving to work, is no longer a place that you go to.
And it's putting people into age brackets on there.
Just think about it for a second. Work is no longer a place you go to.
No. You stay at home.
To do work, right? You can do anywhere.
Or anyway, yeah.
So the 9 to 5 was designed so that workers who are building railways would start at 9, build the railways or construction for cities, and then go home.
At 5.
But we never changed it. So the world's moved on.
But we did change it. That's the mad thing. We changed it, but we're still running on this absolute archaic system.
Well, it's like companies now that measure, we're going to get into fucking HR now, but like if you're a company that measures time rather than results, you're doomed to failure.
Yeah.
Because like I say to the team, you can be here all day for 20 hours. It doesn't matter if the work ain't done.
Jack shit.
And it don't matter. Like you've got to measure the outcomes and the value of something to be able to do it. And you kind of got to look at your life at the same thing as well. It's like so many people, I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to do exercise. I don't have to do anything. I'm like, but you're the same person that goes home and watches 2 hours of Netflix.
I'm definitely that person as well.
Do you know what I mean? Like Arnold Schwarzenegger, in his, there's so many amazing like videos he's put out about like inspiration. But if you just Google Arnold Schwarzenegger, like compilations.
Music in the background.
Yeah. But like one of the things he talks about is like how he would wake up at 5 a.m, do 6-7 hours of construction, then go bodybuilding, then do painting and decorating at night, then do bodybuilding, and then do acting classes till 1-2 a.m. at night and do it all again. He's like,
to learn English
if you
as well.
want it, something acting English classes. So like if you really, really want it, like when I started the company, or even when I was a salesperson as an employee, when everyone went home, I was like, I'm going to stay here and just keep pitching.
I get that, but I also don't think that's healthy. And that's the issue. I think our generation especially, we're taught that you have to, if you want it that badly, you're going to keep pushing, you're going to do everything you can, which absolutely I understand. But also, I know so many people that have exhaustion because they're of this mentality. And I did it for ages.
No, but I did that because I wanted to, not because no one told me to.
But my point is there's a lot of people that
do it. They have to.
Exactly. And that's not healthy.
That's the business's fault, not them, though. It's true. If you create a culture,
because
it's a cultural thing. If you work in a company,
in my workplace, anytime my manager used to try and make me do something, I'm like, is it in my contract?
Yeah, but
He
that's
said
just you
no.
though. But that's you.
I was
That's
like,
not most
cool.
people.
I'm going home. Goodbye.
Most
He
people
hated me for it.
Yeah, but most people won't do that.
Most people feel like they have to say yes to management. They're like, I feel like I have to. Says who? They're not paying you for it. Well, go home.
But that's not the management. That's the culture of the company.
Yeah,
the manager only does that because it's the culture. They've been managed the same way.
Yeah.
That's a cultural company issue. So in the company I worked in before, it was expected that you'd work late. Like, was it like your hours are your hours? But if you didn't hit your target and you went home at 5, people would be frowned upon. Like, wait a minute, you know, like you ain't achieved what you need to achieve. Why are you leaving? Bye, Whereas I was the opposite. It was like, I want to make more money. So, but then sometimes,
that was your drive.
Yeah, but then if I hit my target, then I can go home early, innit? I can do whatever I want. It's up to you. But don't be a victim. You know what I mean? Take charge of it. Like, no one's gonna tap you on the shoulder and do it for you. You have to do it yourself.
True.
And again, if it's easy for me to say it, but you know, most people, I can't remember the exact number, but I know it's like high 90% in that region of people that don't like their job.
Yeah, it makes me sad.
They don't find any fulfillment.
See, I
and that's a big part of anxiety and well-being. And
love my job. We go off on the worst effing tangents. I haven't even finished. See, Bruno's laughing now. But FYI, our editor is actually called Bruno, but we call him every other name under the sun now. It's a fun game we play. So sports massage therapy. Whilst I was in college, I also did a gym instructor course. I was working in retail. I was like, well, I can't have all these qualifications to keep working in retail. I didn't know what I wanted to do. But I always thought I never wanted to work in a gym. I was like, I've got this qualification. I should probably go and work in a gym.
I don't think anyone listening to heard the whole entire first part is surprised that you're not doing where you are. I feel like it's a natural progression.
Well, now in hindsight, absolutely. But at the time, I was like, I don't want to work in a gym.
Not one person I know goes, I knew what I'm doing when I'm growing up. No one does.
No, absolutely not.
You have to find it along the way by trying stuff.
And so I was like, cool, I'll go work in a gym. Remember my first week, they put me on a spin course. And I thought, it must mean they really like me. No, it's just they were desperate for spin instructors. However, it turned out I was really good at teaching. Never really taught like that before. So I loved teaching. And then I did a personal training course. You could get it free through the government if you didn't go to university. I didn't go to university. Fantastic. I was working in the gym sector.
Fantastic. Didn't go uni.
Fantastic. Didn't go uni. Yeah, because I got a free personal training course.
Not like our fancy producer that went to Oxford over there.
Innit? Them fancies. Them fancy Spencers. Them fancy Francois. I
just want to state that at MaxWellness, we're inclusive of everyone.
We used to be talking about bullying.
Even Spencer's.
Even Spencer's.
Yeah.
And Hugo's.
He's already deleted the file. This podcast is gone. We're just talking to mics that we don't realise right now. It's fine.
No camera has red light on. Yeah. But so then I naturally went into that, did the personal training course. And where I'd already been at the gym, I'd already had a load of people. I was about to say I had quite a lot of people already waiting for me to qualify because I'd already been doing gym programs for people. 12 years later, I'm still doing it. And 12 years later, I can promise you I still get imposter syndrome. I've been,
that never goes though. That's a good thing. It's kind of healthy though, slightly.
It is, but it's not. Most PTs quit after a year because they think it's going to be easy. It's not.
Nah.
I mean, it was easy for me, but it's already because I built these relationships with people. And that's what my ethos is.
You're a good people person.
So gradually my journey, and I realized, and I mentioned this on another one where I just have random members just breaking down on me in doing programs. Before I was a PT, I was 19.
By the way, when Hannah says break it down, she means emotionally.
Emotionally. And I was there, I couldn't really give advice, but I could bounce ideas. And I was giving advice, but then I realized over the years, it happens to you so much that all of a sudden, you know what, I can actually give decent advice.
Well, the link between mental and physical is completely one in the same, right? You can't be physically well and...
So I explain it to my clients.
And vice versa, you know what I mean?
This is what I say about therapy. I explain to my clients, you lot are coming to the gym to work on your physical health. Why would you not then go to therapy to work on your mental? I was like, it's like going to battle, not putting your armor on and thinking that you're going to come out unscathed. It's not going to happen. You have to go to therapy. Everyone's like, but I don't feel like I need to. Cool, be proactive. Don't be reactive with your mental health. You don't wait till you have a heart attack to go to, I mean, some people wait till they have a heart attack to go to the gym, but you don't, generally speaking, you don't wait till you have a heart attack to then go to the gym. You go to the gym to make sure you're fit and healthy, to make sure you have good posture, to make sure you do all these things that you can grow old gracefully and not have any injuries and feel like absolute shit. Why is your mental health any different? But it is, and this is what I really try and push my clients. If you talk to any of my clients, they're always talking to me about stuff. And I'm like, I don't give them advice necessarily, but I play devil's advocate. I don't like saying devil's advocate. It always sounds a bit morbid, but devil's advocate. I bounce ideas off them and I'm like, cool, well, and I get them to answer their own questions.
Like you have a close relationship where you can call them on their bullshit.
I can. And the good thing about when you're someone's health and wellness coach, so this is the reason why I like to say health and wellness coach, because
We got there in the end.
I've done, shout out to Goldson, who is a friend of mine who's also a personal trainer, but he's doing courses in mental health, specifically within personal training. So I've done a course with him. You've now got first aid, mental health courses that you can do. So I recommend anyone doing that, because again, it's just as important as a physical. So then I decided to kind of, even though I'm not outwardly there, like saying to my clients, cool, we're going to focus on mental health, but I naturally use my sessions with them.
It's part of your toolkit now.
Exactly. So I'm not there like, bam, I know I say I've got a big focus on mental health within my sessions, but I use it as you said, it's just an avenue for me to explore. And I like to think, and again, when you're someone's trainer, I know all my clients' families pretty much. I'll go to their family dues. I can chat to them on social media, whatever. So I've got a relationship with them, but I'm still very separate. So you can kind of know everyone enough that they can bounce ideas off you. I know who they're talking about. So I think that's where, again, a trainer can come in handy. I'm just going to say trainer now. So yeah, that's why I prefer to call myself a health and wellness coach. And I've done so many courses now. Like I said, I specialize specifically myself in injury rehab, postural correction, like imbalances and stuff like that. I thrive on that stuff, and I will not pretend like I know everything.
I think it's a never-ending journey, right?
Exactly. I will send my client. I'm not going to hear you again. It's an ego. So we were talking about ego earlier. A lot of personal trainers, sorry, banging the chair. A lot of personal trainers have this massive ego thing. They feel like they need to know everything. You don't. Yes, I can look at them. I can see the imbalance. I can come up with a hypothesis, but then I'm going to send them to a physio. That physio is then going to tell me exactly what I need to work on, because they've gone in depth. They felt what's happening. They might have done a scan. They've done some ultrasound. They can tell me exactly what's going on. So now I can give the best to my client, because I'm not ego driven. I want the best in my client. And it's selfish, but then when my clients do amazing, like for example, this week, one of my clients, shout out to Helen. She won't mind me shouting her out. So we've been working.
Shout out to Helen.
Shout out to Helen, because I know she's going to watch this. We've been working on lunges. She couldn't lunge when she got to me. She just couldn't lunge. It's something, she's very analytical. She's incredible. Her brain works in incredible ways. But
Was it a physical or mental block?
Mental, 100% mental. Because she can move. Helen can push heavy weights. Just couldn't lunge. We just couldn't get her to bend her back knee. So we've been working just on movement patterns.
Mad.
Literally just walking movement patterns, grounding herself. We've been doing this for 3 months. This week, for the first time she did a lunge, I swear to God, I almost cried. I welled up. I was like, Helen, I'm so sorry.
Those are the moments.
My eyes are prickling, and it sounds so ridiculous.
I know, but it's those breakthroughs
what we've been talking about. It's the journey
to get there.
Behind. Yeah, it's just a lunge. And anyone else would be like, why she gets? I was jumping up and down. I was like, yes. Her win is my win. And it's like the
well done, Helen, on your lunge.
Well done, Helen, on your lunch.
Next week you can have kettlebells holding them up. Yeah, doing lunges.
Do you watch Friends?
No.
There's a whole episode. What? Anyway, we'll go back to that.
I'm not. It's not 1970 or 80.
It's cold. It doesn't matter. It's on Netflix. Everyone's rewatching it.
I know. I've seen everyone's. Tasha's binging
blasphemy.
It.
Anyway, there's a whole episode of Phoebe where she's basically the whole episode she's trying to do stuff without anything coming back. So she was like, I let a bee sting me so it looked cool in front of its bee friends. And then Rachel was like, but you know that bee probably would have died afterwards, right? She was like, shit. And then it was the whole thing.
Where's this going?
Anything, because the whole thing where you're doing something, so she's trying to make something look cool, but then you still feel good about it. There's no way of doing an act for someone where they benefit and you don't feel good yourself.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. So again, out of this, as a PT, that's why mental health, I focus on that. And that's what I say to everyone, do good, be good.
So why for everyone, we haven't answered that one question then, because we've been on a roll. Why do this? Why Max Wellness? Why this podcast?
Because I love the fact that I can have this relationship one-to-one with my clients. However, I want to get this message out to everyone. Can I have one-to-ones and conversations with everyone? No, I can't. But I want to push that thing out, which I think a lot of companies are doing now, but I think they're doing it in theory and not really applying it. So I want to push that message out as much as I can.
And not just your own, but other people's around the world.
Yeah.
Other experts, sports athletes, etc. So we're going
and the reason why I think athletes and industry experts, influencers, these are all what we call...
They all play a part.
They're high-performing human beings. And yet all these people have all got a story.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to get out so everyone understands.
The good, the bad, the ugly.
And I want to go into detail because people go, yeah, I have mental health problems. That's such a bullshit thing. I have mental health problems. And it's not mental health. You either got bad mental health or you've got good mental health. And I think you can decide if you want one or the other and you can work on it. And I think if we just get everyone's stories out.
When you say it's bullshit though, that's a bit harsh.
It's not issues. No one has an issue. It's just that
What do you mean? What do you mean by that though?
Because I don't think mental health is an issue.
Of course it's an issue.
It's an issue, but it's not an issue in the sense that...
I think what you're trying to say is it's not...
It's not a bad thing. That's what I mean by an issue. I feel like if you say mental health issues, you're making it sound like it's this...
Well, it is an issue.
Bad,
it's just that you shouldn't have to feel bad about it.
I think that's what I'm trying to get at. And
say
I
it's
feel like
bullshit.
when you apply certain things, say certain things about something, I think you just either need to say to people, you haven't got any issues. What you have isn't an issue. It's just that you've got bad mental health at the moment. However, there's stuff we can do to work on it, whether it be medication,
I think removing the stigma is the first thing.
And I think that's ideally what
because when people
I
say
want
that,
to do with
that's what they
MaxWellness.
mean.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them mean when like they say stuff like that, it's just they're like, you feel the issue. The reason you don't share, talk about, or seek action is because it's an issue, and that you're ashamed or worried or.
And I think the stigmas are lessening, but again, I think everyone loves to talk about mental health in theory. Whereas I want everyone to see everyone's journey and how they got there and to
Mental
understand.
health means so many different things to different people, though. I think that's the thing. So I think it's the important thing, which we're already doing, you're doing, I've done, we'll be sharing more, is just sharing more stories of how people are dealing with it, what's working, what's not.
And understand the journey and how people got to where they got to. Because it wasn't just one day they woke up with it and then, oh, fantastic, I got over it.
Also, it doesn't
and all of a sudden it disappears.
Yeah, also that doesn't
It
happen.
never disappears.
Never,
like I say, it's a spectrum. Some days, like with your
It's the
health, one
same
day you'll have a
way-
cold and
it's
you'll
the
have bad physical health. One day you won't and you'll have good
Or
physical
same way,
health.
if you don't go to the gym, you're going to get weaker and less healthy. So you're same with your mind.
There's just spectrums to everything. So yeah, I think that's the...
So that was supposed to be our quick intro that
How long
ended
have
up
you been here
being
for?
1 hour.
No, it's been way longer than that.
Way longer than an hour. Hour and 10 minutes. So what can you expect? This is Hannah. I'm Chris.
Did we even introduce ourselves?
No.
Oh, for God's sake.
So yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there for everyone. And yeah, we created this podcast for all of you. We want to bring the best minds, experts around the world who can share, as we discussed at the beginning, their experience, insights, lessons learned, tips, tricks, tools to help you maximize your wellness and
Smash your goals.
Cool. See you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.